Go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Dobby Gibson, and this is Scarlett, and this is called What Follows Us Now Must Soon Enough Be Carried. To read the news of things both splendid and sad happening far from me today, I had my computer keyboard whisper this coffee shop's secret network password, Pacific, and it clicked. It was 2 years since I had seen the ocean and those I love who lived near it. Like Dean, who could see the bay from his old bed, but is now being kept alive in Texas by a box of valves and lithium batteries serving the functions of a human heart. The last time I saw him, our bellies were filled with oysters and we were drunk in North Beach, which is where I can imagine Matthew now walks the hills with an endless twisting, distorted Neil Young guitar solo traveling between his precision-engineered Chinese-manufactured earbuds. I don't know whether Matthew listens to Neil Young, actually, but I know what it sounds like when the fog pours around Coit Tower in the mid-afternoon and no one thinks twice about stopping for a Sierra Nevada and a conversation about war or poetry. Matthew has written many beautiful and slightly tragic poems about my city, which he lived in just long enough to spend trapped in a cast. I never visited him once, and I, in fact, don't know where he lived, so I imagine it's going to be impossible for you, and probably him, to believe that I miss him. But I was a little afraid of Matthew back then, and maybe still am now, as I am often scared of people who are larger and more amazing than I, which feels like nearly everyone. I can't drink beers at 3 p.m. very often or anytime soon live in San Francisco, because I'm trying to be a decent middle-class father, which requires living close to adequate schools and inexpensive consumer packaged goods. Many of my new best friends these days live as far from me as do my old best friends, like Amanda, who is rehabilitating an artificial steel hip that she selected from a medical supply catalog while sitting on her parents' couch. Amanda said the hip feels like an ice cream headache in her leg. My friend Dean said his box of heart valves is like being followed by a Swiss cuckoo clock. I have very little idea how strange these things must feel, but I was once chased by time. It was in Seoul, near Shincheon Station, where the sound of a second hand followed me and my wife as we walked with Mrs. Jong, who had strapped a little girl who was not yet our daughter onto her back. She was carrying our future and my daughter's past, and now people who are complete strangers feel the need to tell me that my daughter is a lucky girl, forgetting that entire shelves of books have been sarcastically titled Lucky Girl, to awaken us to the horrible things we say to people who are just trying to be 4 years old. According to some of these books, the presence of good fortune is something one has to decide for oneself. So today I thought about reaching for it, without knowing what I was exactly supposed to grab. And I thought of that same afternoon in Seoul, which my wife and I spent as gentle impostors in Jogizi Temple. A woman prostrated herself next to us hundreds of times as a priest struck a gong and chanted things that felt as if they were about being human, but also not. And a small bird flew back and forth through the temple and kept landing on the Buddha's giant golden shoulder. When I put my shoes back on, I knew I would spend the rest of my life wondering many new things, including whether that bird was trapped in the temple or had been there all along by choice. That's it.
Beautiful. Would you like to speak on some change that you might like to see in the world?
What would you like to see, Scarlett?
Ballet.
Ballet.
More ballet?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.